Okay, so regarding the multipolar tendencies in Asia, how much do you think each country has the capacity to become a pole on its own? Like, can India catch up to the level of China and the US? Can Indonesia become a smaller pole? Can Japan sustain a position between China and the US as a smaller pole on its own?
India will be its own pole because it's got bulk, it's got history, it has geography. Japan, no. Japan will be a satellite of the Americans, principally because it's completely dependent on the US nuclear umbrella. But if the US weakens, then it will seek its own autonomy, as part of which it will go further in the current direction of remilitarization. So for the time being, a satellite. But 20, 30 years from now, I'm not sure. Indonesia will not be its own pole because Indonesia knows that if Southeast Asia is balkanized, it'll be a big problem for Indonesia. So Indonesia's preference is to anchor ASEAN. So ASEAN will have two anchors. Indonesia now, eventually Vietnam also, because they are very dynamic people and a dynamic economy. But none will be able to dominate all 10. But these two will be significant weights in the configuration. And if ASEAN can stick together as a grouping, 700 million people with a significant GDP, it will be a weak pole in that system. And a pole where people feel, you are fair, you are neutral. And that neutrality is itself a strategic asset. So every time there's a major meeting, they say go to ASEAN, because everybody is welcome in ASEAN. No one is unwelcome in ASEAN. No one dislikes going to ASEAN. So when the US met North Korea, Trump met Kim Jong-un, both meetings were in ASEAN. ASEAN provides a neutral platform around which all the major powers, Europe, China, US, North Korea, South Korea, everybody sits around the same table. And that's ASEAN's strength. ASEAN's weakness becomes its strength. And to that extent, it can be a weak pole. Yeah.
Well, we discussed multipolarization, and I would like to ask your experience, because in Hungary, if I understand well the situation, the Hungarian government tried to maintain this multi-vector foreign policy. And how do you see, is it still possible to maintain it? And Hungary is part of the NATO and also part of the European Union. How do you think, how can a smaller country can achieve this?
Well, within Europe, you have to find allies. And right now, I think in France, in Macron, there's a kindred spirit. Yes, it played subtly. I think Hungary will be better off if it keeps a lower profile. But I'm told that for Hungarian people, it's impossible. So, well, but
sorry, we are setting the narrative.
Each of us has our own nature, and we cannot deny our own nature. So we have to work with it. But if I were Hungary, I would find allies who are sympathetic to your point of view, but don't assert a position so strongly that it undermines the entire grouping. Then you will be harming yourself. In other words, within the grouping, be clear, be consistent, be moral. And then over time, by what you say and by your constancy, be an influence on others. You will never have enough weight to use weight alone. So you need powers of persuasion and moral influence, which I sense you have because of your own history, your own culture. I see the way Castle Hill is being redeveloped and how determined you are to maintain your own identity. I think that is your greatest strength. But it's not easy to have everything translated into your language, to assert a separateness which others may dislike. But you do that by also respecting other separateness. If I respect that you are different, you are more likely to respect that I'm different. And in this way, you assert your position softly. And that you may have to do. Yeah.
姐妹们总烦恼脸上细纹、干燥与暗沉，现在起跟我一起放心交给 KS Royal Face 皇家颜值逆时奇迹系列。KS Royal Face 皇家颜值逆时奇迹系列，它添加5种 EGF， 专门防止肌肤老化，强化皮肤修复，增加肌肤弹性水嫩，轻松抚平皱纹，换回青春自信。KS Royal Face 皇家颜值逆时奇迹，护肤露、全效精华、精华霜，即刻启动冻龄密码。